Good morning, good afternoon, or good night, and welcome to Command Power, the show in which we discuss all things Magic the Gathering with a focus on Commander.
And welcome to another episode of our card spotlight series in which I highlight a card that I think should see more play in Commander. But before that, just a quick reminder to click subscribe if you enjoy my videos. We're well on our way to 1 million subscribers and your support means everything to me. And today we're going to be talking about Promise of Aclazotz. For 1 colorless and 1 black, it's an enchantment that says at the beginning of your end step, you may sacrifice a non-demon creature. If you do, populate, which is create a token that's a copy of a creature token you control. It also has an adventure side, which is a sorcery called Rebirth. For 2 colorless and 1 black, it says sacrifice a non-demon creature. If you do, create a 4/3 white and black vampire demon creature token with flying. So this is a really interesting card for a couple of different reasons, and again, it's one that just costs a few cents, so it's very cheap to pick up right now. The main reason that I really like this is that it gives populate to black. This is the only card that does that so far in Magic, and it's an effect that black can sometimes use quite nicely. There are a few cards that make pretty big black tokens, and being able to populate those seems solid. And of course, this card itself also comes with a nice little ability in the adventure side, which is going to allow you to upgrade one of your little creatures into a 4/3 flyer. Assuming you did both sides of this card on turn 5, you'd end the turn with 2 4/3 flyers, which seems pretty solid. But of course, that's the flaw for this card. The ceiling is much higher. You can trade something up early game, get a nice flying token, and then on the next turn play this enchantment and either start populating that token or populate something else that you have lying around. There are lots of opportunities for abuse with this card, and you don't even need to use the adventure side. The other side is actually very solid on its own. A card that I really like with this is something like Phyrexian Processor if you're in a deck that can gain a bunch of life or for which life is not an issue, because you can just make huge tokens with Phyrexian Processor, and then at the end step you're going to populate those tokens, thus getting a huge creature again without any additional cost of life. So you're going to be able to get these huge boards with just these 2 cards. Obviously though, Promise of Aclazotz doesn't need that much help. It can really go in any deck that has tokens or an aristocrat sub-theme. Now, why do I say aristocrats in particular? It's because you're going to be sacrificing something for the sorcery part. Now, usually you want to sacrifice stuff in aristocrats decks. They also tend to play some tokens here or there. Do bear in mind the Promise of Aclazotz and populate in general don't work with non-creature tokens, so you're not going to be able to get any treasures out of this. Another interesting part about this card that I haven't really mentioned yet is that it's a sacrifice outlet once per turn. Although it's not a very flexible one because you can only use it on your end step, it is often nice to have that kind of option. A deck that might be interested in something like this, for example, would be Henzi Toolbox Torre, because it does play quite a few tokens and you are going to have those creatures die at the end of turn anyway, so why not sacrifice them to Promise of Aclazotz to turn them into a permanent 4/3. And that's kind of one of the places where I see this card playing really well. In any deck that has a theme of creatures dying at the end of turn or of creatures being returned to their owners at the end of turn, sacrificing them feels very nice because you can then turn them into something permanent as long as you have another token lying around. Anyway, it's yet another interesting card from the Lost Caverns of Ixalan Commander. Be sure to give it a try in your Commander decks and let me know how it plays out. So there you have it. Those have been my thoughts on this new spoiler. What do you think about this card? Please let me know in the comment section below. I read all comments and respond to all of them too. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to click like or subscribe. It really helps the channel. And until next time, take care.